All right, what's up, everybody? Good to be back. And today, we're just going to take it easy. The game plan for today is some good old fashioned just gameplay, right? I'm going to play some Aurora games, talk about some lines, kind of give my thought process on like why I'm taking. And yeah, we're just going to take it easy. There's nothing like super structured for today. We're just going to hang out, play some Aurora games, and then ultimately call it a day. So, if anybody has any questions about anything, uh, could be Aurora related or not, feel free to ask. This is like the perfect stream to do that because I won't be super, you know, I won't be super distracted or like heavily focused because I'll just be, you know, playing some Room Blade games, and I've done that once or twice before in my life. So yeah, other than that, I have one question if anybody that's either live currently or watching the VOD. I got I got some interesting feedback that I've never gotten before from the last two videos I've done. And that is that I talk too slow. So let me know 100 keep it 100, right? Um is that the case? Is that something that I need to work on? Or is it, I don't know, maybe people that are used to like really tailored content hopping into the streams and maybe they're just not accustomed to the content that I generate? I don't know. I feel like during the tier list, I was thinking a lot of the time, trying to like come up with you know, trying to come up with my thoughts. So I understand why I was a little bit slow during that one. Also, it was just a long video. There's a lot of topics to hit. So I would love feedback on that because I had like five people mention it. Um, I just want to know like, is that something that I need to like work on, or is it just, you know, not that big of a deal? I'd love to give you some reps with some lists I've been messing around with. Well, if we see each other on the, I don't think that's true, honestly. No, it's perfect for my smooth brain. Okay. I mean, in in the defense, right? It's like YouTube, you can like, I guess it's a lot easier to speed it up a little bit than it is to slow it down. I think slowing I've never watched a video that I slowed down and, you know, I don't know. Is what it is. But I would just love the feedback. I'm always striving to do a little bit better. So, how's the learning curve for someone who's never played RuneBlade before? I think that Aurora is very easy to pick up, but there's a lot of intricate lines that are going to take a lot of. Um, One thing that I'll also do, I'll go over my card counting strategy for basically, RuneBlade. I'll go over that one more time if anybody has not heard me go over that. I've done it quite a few times on stream. But I have a card counting strategy where I will actively just count certain things to determine what I need to put into Arsenal or what I need to prioritize, right? And I think it's less important in Aurora, but it still is applicable. And, just go from there. You know, I think you talk slow, but it's fine. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. You do talk slower than most content creators, to be honest. I love it. It's very good. Allow me to process it all. Okay. Uh, are you not just trying to put your thoughts in the easiest way to understand? I mean, trying. I don't think you talk so maybe some words are dragged out a little bit longer. So yeah, that's just the Alabama in me. That we can't fix that. that is not fixable. Okay. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold us up any. Let's hop straight into it. Let me show the list that I plan on playing for you all today. It's basically my show match. Also, if you're interested, I'm dropping my Aurora A to Z episode tomorrow on the channel. Feel free to check it out. It's going to be a little bit different than this. It's going to be going over my show match list, but it's basically the same list. All I did was went one down on magnetism and electrify to main board the somersaults that were previously in the sideboard, and that allowed me to remove one sigil of suffering to allow for three flicker wisp in the sideboard. So that's the only change from the show match from when I played against Blue Pitch. So This is the list that I'm running. The last kind of addition that I'm trying to kind of fit in is Aether Ironweave. I'm just trying to figure out how many matchups is it really that important that I on a Arc Lightning and Flicker Whips turn, how important is it to activate the Iron Weave, activate Grasp for that extra value? I'm not entirely sure that it is that important or that worth it. So that's what I'm ultimately trying to determine. But Spring Tunic has just felt so important running a few one cost in the list. I think Tunic gets a lot less important if you completely cut out all the one cost. But currently I'm on four, the rest is Cheerio. And yeah, so let's just hop into some games and keep it going. Actually, let's do it this way. What I want to do is I want to join somebody that's already got something going on. Okay. Very sophisticated sideboard. Warmonger's bad, Warmonger's good. It's not that simple, but it is what it is. So this matchup can go a little long, obviously, due to the tunic. It's actually a pretty rough matchup. It's not the easiest, but we're gonna do our best and see what we can work with. We're definitely gonna need this. Is not as impactful as we would like it to be. So the question is, what are we taking out for this Flicker Wisp? We obviously I mean, there are some CNCs and shenanigans, so Somersault is good, but at the same time, we really just want to keep on the gas. And this is way worse as an offensive card, so we're actually going to drop that. And then since they do like to block a lot, maybe we'll chop one of the electrifies out as soon as we can. Um, yeah, we'll take one of the electrifies out and call it a day and run a clean 60. There is an argument for the exudes. Um, this is a matchup where it could, you know, it could have a good effect depending on how they what their game plan is into you basically. Let me get my chat and pull it to the side. We're just gonna submit it like this, see what happens, and we will go from. Is Briar competitive in LL? Not currently, not till they ban a certain weapon. I think if you're going Iron Weave, you go Royal as well for the card draw. I mean, that could be the case, right? It very well could be the case. Fatigue unlikely because they're running 60 cards and they're starting with a Bramble Spark, so you know, something to keep in mind. Okay. We this is very easy. Just block with these two and we'll play CLV out for the value. We're gonna leak a little bit, obviously, but it do be like that. Now there is a valid argument on going ahead and making an embodiment here because we've played a lightning card, which is what I'm actually going to do. But there's also an argument to not do that because you have the ability. That's my guaranteed way of keeping this around for next turn. So it really just depends on what we draw, right? So we have an ability to kind of keep it around, right? There's no arcane barrier. So the way that we should look at this proposition is kind of we know that the arcane shockwave is enough to get the card draw, right? That's kind of one thing that we know. And I think that alone just warrants the play of it, right? Because this is not turned on. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to go ahead and guarantee our card draw. Although I'd love to E-strike draw a card. I would love to do that. I think it's just more important to get the information out there first and then go from there. And we can also set up a really gnarly turn following, depending on what's actually happening. So here we have quite a few options. We can basically go sizzle into sword, into static shock, into make an embodiment carry over arsenal to E-strike, which is my preferred line in this situation. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and play the sizzle so we don't have to break the chain again. And then we're gonna go ahead and activate Starfall because we've played a lightning card. So it's gonna be 5 go again, and then we're gonna close with an on hit. And they are just eating this, which I'm honestly not expecting. And this is a lightning card, so we're obviously gonna keep the CLV around, which is our number one priority. And I'm really hoping to draw one of my non-attacks, maybe a burn up of sorts, so that way I can go ahead and get my purgatory online and go and get the value because he's definitely swinging something, right? And there's also an argument in this situation to come off an arsenal because he's keeping so much. This could definitely be like a plow under with some yum yum uh, kind of situation. So this arsenal could get burned up, not actually burned up, but like you know what I'm saying. He could plow under here is what I'm saying. Showing me the blue. Okay, swarming. Not that bad. Okay. So now we just look at the hand, right? We ask ourselves, what are we actively trying to accomplish? And we have a lightning card to turn this on, so that's free. The flicker wisp is not amazing in this situation, really at all. Like in any way. We do have. We can E strike, sink the flicker, draw a card. Then that leaves us with the flittering plays sigil, and then this is like a situation because he's playing very aggressively, and we're gonna lean into that. We're gonna take advantage of that because you know if he wants to shorten the game and not have a hero ability, I can win that. I can win that. Gonna swing the Reaper, sure. That is fine. There was a world where we could have purgatoried there. But I don't like the idea of giving up my only attack action other than my arsenal. It feels a little wrong in that spot, although it's a very respectable spot to do that. Creepers believer, always, always. Okay, so we're just gonna open with the E strike and see what we draw. Keep in mind that if we need to force this through, we have the ability to pitch for grass since they're off of AB and the boots are not turned on still. So we're gonna get rid of the wisp because it's just not doing a lot in this situation, and we're just going to draw a card. Let that resolve. Okay, so we got the blink. Um, Not amazing, but there is a creepers line available to us. I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm being 100% honest. Um, but I think we're just going to do it literally just to get 2 lightning cards into the pitch zone to keep this around. It is literally what we're gonna do. Which we don't have to creepers here. What we can do is we can actually just activate grass, swing sword, and then um, mm, I think we are gonna have to creepers, right? Because we haven't played a lightning card. We'll see if he lets us hit. Okay, he's not. Okay. Did he sink? He did put a card onto the bottom. Okay. That is a little bit of information. So there's obviously no reason to creepers this in, obviously. So now what we can do is what we're gonna do. Hmm. I'm gonna go here to get the card draw, and then we'll be able to play that, and then we can always force the interaction if we really need to by activating. Yeah, see if we needed. Hmm. So we got the card draw. This will give us an embodiment for the next turn, which is great and all. But the Creeper's line is the only way that we get double lightning pitch. And what is the actual value from doing that? I don't think it's actually that high. So I think we're gonna let the channel Lightning Valley go. And I think what we're gonna do is just play the Sigil of Lightning. As tempting as it is, I would love to keep her around, but we're gonna let her go. And then we're just going to swing for 2 go again. And then throw 5. And then most importantly, we have Tunic counter up with Electrifying Arsenal. We are telling him, which I'm not a huge fan of. Um, so that's what we're gonna end up actually doing. And we're set up for next turn. We have the embodiment there. I am a little worried about a little bit of disruption. We have a full suite of armor, though. I'd love to get the Purgatory online soon because we're kind of running out of time. No reason to activate hero ability because we have the embodiment secured. So we're just going to pass and set up for a even bigger turn. Okay, so we do have a really good hand to Purgatory here. So that is what we're actively going to do if he gives us the opportunity. Not on that. Not on that. No way. This hand does way too many things. Play an instant card. Gain go again. But we have so much go again. And we get this sigil. So we have just everything we want. All this is turned off. We can start getting all the armor. We got 4 here. It's a lot of rune chance. I think we just say take it. That's too low in the value for Purgatory. If these were bad cards, I would give Purgatory here and get him to discard. Because this is probably a D react. But this hand's too good to kind of. Draw this card well, that, you know, that helps. That helps. Do we actually play it? I know that sounds crazy because we're only getting 1, 2, 3, 4 triggers off of it, which is not. And actually, one of them's not going to have go again because we can't resolve both of these. So I don't think we even play this, as crazy as it sounds. I think we just keep it as another way to force through the burn up shock. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go both here. And so if we hit like we hit, what this turn basically does is it gets all the armor and all the cards from hand guaranteed. Because if he takes any damage here, he gets, you know, well, if he lets anything hit, not take damage. Just draw the nuts. Why you got bad cards in the deck? I mean, I don't, right? Or I would have drawn them. That's the idea, right? Do, do, do. having this in Arsenal is a great way to close the game. He just can't take any damage. He dies to this card exactly if he lets any of this leave. And but he's gonna start wasting stuff. Like he's gonna waste his purgatory. His boots aren't turned on. I haven't broke the combat chain. I'm not going to. Not making embodiments. Got 2 blocks. See. Okay, he's gonna purgatory here, which is actually interesting, but I'm like actually perfectly fine with it because I'm just gonna say, you know, you're still gonna give me one more card and your last bit of armor. Please and thank you. Okay, so we chewed through most of the armor, which is ideal, obviously. And we have a way to purgatory here, but obviously there's no real reason to. So we're not going to. And also, can he actually decompose? Yeah. Hmm. We haven't seen a plow under, which makes me want to just unload the hand as much as possible and not hold anything back. So we're gonna put you back because you block, which we're never gonna see it again. But you know, you never know. This isn't good enough. We are gonna get a little bit of block in because we need to be able to block with that a second time with all these rune chants going on. The life total is a little high. Like I said, we haven't seen a plow under yet. Normally, I would kind of. We also don't want to brick. I think that's the only way that we lose in this situation. So maybe we do hold back. I think we do. We just throw 7. Arsenal that one. Aurora is massively fun. Love how lightning works. Actual tricks instead of just go again. I know I'm behind, but what weapon are you saying is gatekeeping? Kraken's Aether Vein. There's no deck you should be playing in LL other than Verdant's Kraken Aether's Vein. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Kraken's Aether Vein. That word. So we still have most of our armor. We still have what? One. We still have a purgatory effect. We still have plenty of non-attacks. We still have 2 of these. Uh, and some arc lightnings and some flicker wisp. We have several ways to turn on the purgatory if they choose to throw. And they are keeping it. That does make me a little worried, but you know, it is what it is. So maybe we get punished by a plow under. Please don't plow under just one time. Does it go again? It is. And we cannot purgatory. Oh no. Oh no, chat. Uh and we have 8 and then 4 and then 2 rune chants in the back. So no decompose here. He showed an arcane seeds. There's no reason to believe that he's still holding that. Um, probably just swing Reaper. So we're coming in for 12. I'm at 1, so we can go here into here. I mean, I hate that we can't, you know, actually get value. But this arcane gets a little worrisome. And it's not like my hand's letting me do anything else. So let's be honest here. So that'd be taking 4 and then taking 6. That'd be down to 3 with nothing in the back. It's a little sus. Do we hang on to the tunic? Do we not? Because he has the arcane seeds, which actually could close it out, but then we stay at 4 higher life, so that's actually fine. I'm okay keeping the tunic. But congratulations, you got purgatory for just 2 block. Why spellbound creepers over lightning greaves? It's easier to activate, believe it or not, and you also have electrify and burn up. I think those are good enough reasons alone. What's the biggest arcanic shockwave you've ever seen? What's the biggest one? 7 coming in for 10. You know I got 3 more. It could be anything, chat. It could be anything. I think I got greedy on the purgatory earlier in the game. I should have. The hand was just too good. Or no, on the one where it would have actually saved 4. The problem was that it was my only attack. So do you actually sink your only attack in that situation other than the E strike and arsenal? It seems really sus. I don't know. Gone in the Flash is still in the list, even without Graves. You want to go to 1, bud? This is not turned on, right? Does not trigger. You got the react? You got it? You got that react? Got fruits. That's not enough. GG. 16 value on average per turn. Pretty good for and so we had full tempo from there because he had the E strike in hand, even if we didn't have maybe the double press, and we have a really good hand to follow with E strike and snatch, and we can block 6 and send 4. We have so many possibilities that we can make on that turn. So good game, cheesy way to close it out, but you know we take those. We take those. Okay, we got the first one. We got the first. Pretty straightforward when everything costs 0. Kind of chops a lot of the decision making out, believe it or not. Who would have known? When you completely eliminate a portion of the game. Who knew? That's something that I could get a lot better on, though, is just understanding like when. I guess we'll play another one of those. I mean, that's everybody's gonna be playing the new heroes, right? Just what's gonna be happening. Uh, Here I think we definitely just want to go first because it's kind of sus if they do. So what we did kind of worked. The flicker was either every time I play this card, it's like either it's so good or so mid. The best thing about this card in this matchup is it turns on Purgatory. That is literally the best thing about it. Uh, so it is what it is. And we'll just keep the same loadout. Tunic was pretty good. Tunic almost got 2 uses. Although I'm not used to the Florian games being that quick. That was actually pretty unusual. So this one is Arcane Barrier with more than a whole bunch of cards. So, okay. So basically, what we're going to do is just try and we're literally just going to try and pitch stack a lightning, arc lightning, and flicker wisp. But the most important part is we're going to try and do so by actively keeping threats in our deck. Actually, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is just go ahead and get the pitch stack going. And maybe we could just draw one. That would be cool. The hand's just good. Like that's the problem. I'm just gonna rune chant path. I don't give him the chance to block. In case he has something. And we can just unload if he wants to like yum yum or something. It feels so bad in this deck. I mean, it really does depend on okay, so he did yum yum. The question is that enough? I don't think we actually leak and it's wasting the rune chant, so I'm just gonna pass anyway. Arsenal. And we have a pretty good start here because the damage is gonna come in split for the CLV. And we have Buku's a go again, right? Which is definitely ideal. We can even give the snatch go again, which is pretty good, I heard. So tomorrow, oh, there is a target fruits. Okay, so you're just recycling. Sure. We're gonna eat every ounce of this. Okay, so we're gonna lead with this with the rune chant trigger on the stack. We're gonna play the CLV because it's the first time you deal damage. So this tells him, okay, you have to cover up this breakpoint and stop the rune chant if you want to stop my card draw. And then that's gonna turn on the current funnel, and we're gonna draw. So, which will give the snatch go again. Basically, is the point that I'm getting at. Uh, and it does say the last action card you played this turn. So we can break the chain with Sizzle if we really need to. So what we're gonna do is we actually don't want the snatch to have go. Been burned by too many dead card games to waste my money and time on this one, but it's fun to watch. Well, I mean, this one's made it the test of time, right? It's already survived like a market crash. It has literally $100,000 to first place tournaments every year. I mean, there's a lot going for it. And then I think we just go current funnel, which should have go again because the last action card I played was lightning. And then we'll go into a snatch. So we've unloaded everything we possibly can into the snatch last because we want to obviously save the on hit till the end. And then we will also, for consistency reasons, especially because we have the channel Lightning Valley. Also, I don't hate the idea of just holding this. Um, which is actually maybe what I should have done. Because he's probably just gonna D-react this. Oh, he didn't. Okay, never mind. Never mind. And because we have CLV, I mean, he said no blocks on the snatch. Let's think about that, chat. Does that mean that he has a plow under, or a CNC, and he actively wants to get value? Well, he can't plow under because he doesn't have the earth cards in there, but he could have a CNC and maybe some life gain. So it's actually it's not a straightforward answer on whether you arsenal this or just send it here, but I'm going to arsenal it anyway because we have so much armor up for a CNC. I'm not too worried about a plow under. Okay. Arcane Seeds, sure. You got it. You got it. You also got it. Hmm. I'm just trying to think, chat. We can't purgatory here. There's no shot. It's like really sus. And also, I don't hate the idea of going underneath him to turn off the life gain. I don't hate that idea temporarily. So I am more than happy to just do this exchange. Now, the ultimate question is, we can play this and resolve the go again. And while the go again is on the stack, or while the arcane damage is on the stack, we can play this out. Or we can be a little bit sneaky. But I think we have to do it that way because we don't have that many different ways to actively, produce enough damage. I think we're gonna get it. I think we're guaranteed to get it. So let's go ahead and do it that way. Let's go ahead and play Arc Lightning, let it resolve. And then this is the go again trigger, which we will play the CLV out. Ping for 1. He has to pitch here, give me 2 cards, whichever one. Okay, that's perfectly fine. It's a yellow, which means he's now going to be presented in the exact same situation multiple times. And so what I'm actually going to do here is go ahead and grasp, which will ping 1. Which will absorb this. But then more importantly, when we send the flittering charge, which will have go again due to the embodiment of lightning. And I'm also trying to stack as many. I think it's kind of a pipe dream to keep these, but if we brick hard on the draws, it could, there is a world, right? Like there is a world. Pitching reds to stop it. This is a dream come true. Because we also have Tunic counter into Sword Swing, which he is unaware of, which will actually deal 2 and 1 and have go again. So I'm not saying that this is a misplay, but we are ready. So, and it's a red. So that means we are a go. Oh, wait, we actually didn't need to do that. We just send this. We have none floating. He can cover this up with the bark skin, which I'm perfectly fine with. But once the go again resolves, he has none floating, which means we draw 2 cards, which is ideal. And we have full tempo. And we get to pitch for an abide. We just get to do whatever we want, right? That's kind of the idea. Like this is just nasty. I mean, we get to uh, just send this for an extra 5 damage, and we'll just keep one of the CLVs, and we're boom. We got a good arsenal card that's very flexible that kind of just lets us do whatever we want. Um, so just keeping that pressure on is all we're trying to do against a deck that came in with more than 60 cards. They're going to give it up there as they should, because obviously their deck is very weak because they came in with like 70 cards, and I've already chewed through their armor and taken them down to what, like 15 on turn 3. So, uh, you know, you can try to fatigue, but you give me a blank canvas in 50 minutes, and I'm gonna paint you something nice. Let me get caught up in chat. Let me get caught up in chat. Okay. And after this wave of commander bans, I think some MTG players might try Fab. I mean, maybe. Maybe. There are like 3 Bandai games and 100 Kickstarter TCGs that die before this one. Though it's too expensive to play CC. I mean, that's a huge topic right now on how expensive it is to play Flesh and Blood. And I really wish I could give a valuable opinion on it, but I simply can't. This is my first and only TCG other than a little kitchen table Yu-Gi-Oh. So I don't really know like whether Fab is more expensive, less expensive, whatever the case may be. But the Armory decks, it seems like it's kind of, why not hold the current funnel for Arsenal? Tom, you asked, and the answer to that question was I wanted the Snatch to actually present an on-hit effect, right? Because Snatch says if it hits, draw a card. Well, if I have a card in my hand that I'm holding for Arsenal, then there's no point. I don't render any value from the Snatch draw a card if I have 2 cards at the end of my turn. That's why we don't hold the current funnel in that situation. Da, 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 da. I dislike aggro decks as well, so bedtime for me. That's fair. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Fab is not any more expensive than MTG. People forget how much they actually spend. It's also like, I don't know. I don't view card games as investments. I think if you're just playing the game, I don't think you should. If you're actively like buying and selling a lot and like that's your thing, then yes, I think that's an accurate way to look at it. But I think if you're like just a player, then I don't think it's a great way. Cause like, I don't know, if you go to like the movie theaters and spend like $15 on a ticket, right? Like you literally just burned $15, right? And whereas these cards, like, sure, they're going to go down in value eventually, whatever the case may be, but you get a lot of play out of them, right? Like your mana crypts, you probably played with them for years, maybe. I don't know how long the cards. I don't play Magic, so but like you played for it for so long, and sure, when you sell it, maybe you get half as much, or maybe 25%. But like, name one entertainment based thing that you can do and get any of your money back. I would really, other than poker, I used to be big into poker, and you can definitely, but you can lose a lot more too. So, that is an aspect of it. Let me go ahead and update the the wind track. I'm trying to get in the habit of actually doing this because I'm usually so bad at it. I'm usually so bad at it. Let's go ahead and fire another one because why not? Why not? Rip. Bravo? Oh, brother. No, not like this. I'm not doing that one. I'm not doing that. Because either some degen fatigue or it's like what shouldn't be a game. I don't know. Sorry if that person's watching. It's another one. Fine, I'll do it. I've been talked into it. We definitely put those in. If it's super degen fatigue, exude is actually decent, but we also need to run the. I think Aurora is so much better that we can actually get away with running more cards and it not being a problem. I think the electrify gets actively worse. What does this do other than brick us? I just don't think we need the D-Racks. Like we don't even need them. We just literally push. Maintain the same ratio. We fat deck a little bit to 66, but keep like a clean, all we've done is add a 50-50 split on attacks and non-attacks. And just run this. Might brick a couple times, but they're going to give us opportunities to block. Guarantee it. This is what I would never recommend anybody do is sideboard based on the opponent's deck being absolute dog shit. Um, I just don't recommend it. But at the same time, like if it is, then then it is. Wow. Uh, I am actually going to. This does not have go again, right? It does not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play CLV. We're gonna overpitch the electrify. This is a fine card because it helps this actually hit. Holy shit! I just realized that Snapdragon Scaler. Bravo. What a world. I probably should have done that after. I guess it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, I should have waited because now he's searching his deck and now he can say, okay, let me get something that's a little bit cheaper. But that's going to be too expensive for you to play, to be honest. There's also a world where we actively play this out because we want a different card, but it's doing what we want. We've come to realize that he doesn't have a lot of armor, so we just want to throw big number. It's literally that simple. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Well, is that no attack in 7? I moved 7 cards out of my hand. That's no attack action in 7? Okay, so we're going to give him the opportunity to misplay by overpitching this. We need to play this so it has go again, and it also gives threat to what may follow. I couldn't even count cards. It was like my first hand. Okay, so we got the card draw. Cool. that's. I feel better now. Not really. This is not what we wanted. Um yeah. We know he has the crippling crush. And we know we're drawing a bunch of attacks. So I think the somersault is actually good here. Not ideal, but it's good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play this. And if there's not an attack on the top, I'm gonna somersault and play it again. But because there's attack there, especially because it blocks 3, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna arsenal this somersault and use it to counter the crippling crush that he's about to throw at my face. And we're just gonna sadly pass turn. Which actually, the mistake was I overpitched for no reason. I mean, I take that back. It was for a very good reason because 2 somersaults in your hand is really bad. But knowing if I would have known, hindsight's 2020. If I would have known, I could have somersaulted it back to my hand and got another 4 damage. But you can't make that play not knowing, just not knowing. So we're gonna arsenal this. And there is our 2 attack cards. So we're just going to block with that. And we also, if the attack is high enough, we have a non-attack. So we can actually face Purgatory in this situation, depending on what it is, which is very likely what we'll actually end up doing. Rip. Psych. No, we won't. No, we won't. We will not. Okay. So just dominate crippling with 2 floating. We can't Purgatory, obviously, because we're not allowed. We need to block 8 here. Mm, what if we didn't block at all and we just say, okay, just don't leave me with 2 sizzles. Any other hand is fine. What if we did that? Because blocking 8 is kind of sus. I have to give him everything plus the 3 block. And the turn's not even amazing. So I'm actually going to eat this crippling crush and just hope he doesn't leave me with 2 sizzles. That is literally any other hand combination is perfectly fine. We can work with it. Just don't leave me with 2 sizzles. Please. Okay, you discarded the 2 sizzle. That's fine. That's fine. We'll take that. Okay, as far as what we can play, we can't make a move on. We just have to E strike 7. It's very likely. It's like very likely that he's just gonna let us draw. And the question is, the reason I like this, I actually don't like this, but it is what it is. Glittering goes with somersault. Okay. We'll just pass because he obviously has something, right? Uh okay, we have double attacks. Just don't dominate one time, please. Okay, we can work with this. We can work with this. We don't have the non-attack. So we definitely want a somersault here. We can go flittering, give it go again. Into exude. That's 3, then 7, and then Arsenal, the magnetism for the tunic counter. We can also just Starfall. There's no way that we can lead with a Starfall is the problem. So that part's not ideal. Uh, why did that not work? Why? Do I need to let the pulverize resolve? Okay, somersault my cards back, please. What's happening? Oh, uh, you're right, chat. You're right, chat. I have to play it in reactions. Woo! I was like, what is happening? I was like, what is happening? Okay. Yep. Yep. Pulverizing me. Cool stuff. Here. Has in reactions with somersault. We target this and this. Then they just magically reappear. Cool. We did it. Okay, so we can go Flittering Charge, which will come in for 0 because of the Pulverize effect, unfortunately. Snaps and Bravo. Makes me happy. Then we're going to press it to give it go again. And then because they, I think we're going to go ahead and get some value off of that initial brick really hurt us. Like, it really hurt us. 7 cards and not a single attack action. But it's okay. We still have a lot of blues. I think we've only seen 1, maybe 2 blues. So very likely that we'll draw 1 to actually fit this in, which means we don't need to save the tunic counter for it, which is where we want to be. Simple as that. If he was saving a D-React for Snatch, this does kind of mess him up a little bit. And then we can just pass here and say, what are you going to do to me? This hand, don't be blocking. Okay, so you're going to E-Strike, draw a card, snap. Cool. We can't Purgatory, unfortunately. And our hand literally just does a thing. That's all it does. It does a thing. The draws this game have been a little awkward. You have an on hit? You do. Boy, do you. Do you have the pummel? I mean, you drew a random card, right? But he structured the turn in a way to where, as long as he has pummel in his hand, anything that he draws theoretically would work because you could pitch it no matter what it was for the pommel. So do we not even block and just say, yeah, congrats on the pommel? Is that what we do? We can hide the press information. It's not a lot of armor. We have a lot of armor though. We might just have to, 'cause we can't give all of this. And it doesn't even seem really worth it. Like we're not doing anything crazy. If we can shrink his hand though, we can I think the tempo is worth the play. But we just get blown out by the pommel. And then if he has the pommel here, then it's very easy to play around it, right? You just put the sigil in arsenal for the next one. I'm gonna let him have it. He earned it. Base per he can't pummel and you draw an attack. I can't purgatory here. I don't have a non-attack action. Yeah, I would love if I had a non-attack in my hand, I don't care what I drew. That shit would have been in there 15 minutes ago. It literally would not matter. So what we're actually gonna do is play this out now. Hear me out. Hear me out. It's the whole reason why we run this. Okay, this pops. We get go agains. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lead with this, showing the sigil. That's when he's like, oh, that's why you didn't block. And then we're going to hit him for a little bit more. And then we're going to swing Starfall and make a embodiment afterwards. So we still have carryover for the next turn to go like 4/4. We're trying to play the small hand game because he's obviously. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, okay. Well, I guess that works. I wanted to play Lightning Press, but I guess we'll play it anyway. Arcane damage is not OP. Not in the least bit. Arcane damage is not OP. It is not. That is. And then we're just going to, at the conclusion of the attack, we're just going to go ahead and make an embodiment for the following turn. And we have a full suite of armor against his 4 cards. Hopefully we can purgatory. We haven't purgatoried once in 3 games, chat. One of them was my fault. I got a little greedy on it, trying to be better, but it's online. He just has to not hit that dominate button. That's all he's got to do. He could just throw a crippling or a spinal, anything. But we also have a really good hand to where if he does dominate, we can just send 7. So like we're happy no matter what happens here. And he's getting used. Absolutely. Okay, so the question is, what do we want to keep? We know we're blocking here and here, and we're blocking with an attack. But I think this is the weakest one. Because this fits anything. If we draw an instant, we can get go again there. But we have an embodiment. So actually, believe it or not, I think the flittering is actually the weakest of the two. Because we can lead with the exude, which forces, one of his big dumb attacks out front. That's kind of good. So pummel in Arsenal. I think that's a very safe assumption. We have the go agains. So what's the correct way to do this? He's at 8. I think all we need to do is literally shrink his hand size to where we can't get pummeled. Which means we need to get 2 cards. So it's 6 plus. We need to incentivize him to give us cards. That's how we win this game. It's just him give us cards, which means I would love to leave with the exude to turn off D reacts, but he's not super defensive. He's actually very aggressive. I'm going to lead with the snatch to say, hey, hear me out. You should probably just give me a card in Balance of Justice, right? That's the idea. But if he doesn't, hear me out. If he doesn't, then we get to draw a card, maybe E-Strike, go again, in with an exude or something like that. So that's kind of where I'm at. The 7 go again, but I want him to lead with giving me cards. Is kind of the idea. Okay, if we send 7, I mean, we just have to send 7. There's no way we can get on an Arsenal. He'll have tunic counters, so yeah, we just say buff. There's no reason to draw a card here. All we're gonna do is basically threaten an Arsenal that we may or may not have. We want to be able to block with 1 card, creepers, and grasp next turn. Stay at approximately we want to get value from our tunic one more time. One more time is our goal. But we really want to see him lay. If he could lay down 2 cards here, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. But he's low enough life that he has to anyway. Okay, so if we're getting pummels, that's really good. Oh, this is really good. So it basically means that he's going to swing Anathos and try and kill me with a pummel. Is the line that makes the most sense because he can't utilize the tunic counter in this situation. Which I'm perfectly fine with because I've played Bravo. I actually played him at Worlds last year. And I'm not going to fall for that. So if he just swings hammer, yep, that's what he's doing. He has another blue in his hand and he has a pummel. He's trying to pump this to 10. Is exactly what he's trying to do. And the tricky part about this play particularly is that it kind of, well, our hand kind of sucks. Let's think about this for a sec. He's got no armor though. So what if we go here and here? Right? Because we don't have go again. There's no way to get go again. Can't even think about go again. Yeah, let's do that. We'll take 4 because he's going to play the pummel, goes to 10. Or he IPs himself. I'm happy either way that goes. I know for a fact that that's a pummel in Arsenal. I know it. So I'm not actually gonna grasp. What I'm gonna do is just play the shockwave and fuse it with Gone in a Flash. So it has like the same effect. I get to keep an Arsenal. Send 5 on one card, which is super efficient. We're guaranteed to get a card here. Now we do have to survive a hit, but we're at 9. We have 4 armor. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to survive whatever, even through the pummel. So I think this is a very comfortable spot, and we'll be able to just kind of just play this more efficient kind of game. Is all that we're attempting to do. Because I know it looks like we got the bad end of the deal on the last block because we blocked 6 on 4, but he ended his turn with a card in hand, right? So he IP'd himself. So um we actually won that turn cycle. And there goes another pummel. So that means that's 2 red pummels, and then we have 1 in Arsenal, which is very good for us. He does get the surge though, which is kind of sketch, but at the same time, if he does play like a choke slam, then the other thing's not playable, the pummel. So this is actually okay. Yep, he's trying to do the same thing here, which is fine. Don't really care. Trying to take it to 10. We have Gone in a Flash. We have Tunic Counter. Creepers. Creepers in. Go to 2. We get an action point, but then we have like too much go again. But then we get to bait the other card, go for the win. We can't give creepers. We can go here. We take 8 and go to 1. And then we Tunic Counters creeper in. We've Gone in a Flash. Tunic creepers, the burn up. If he doesn't block 4, he loses. Then we get to electrostat discharge into an we get to swing weapon, and then electrostatic discharge into an exude, and then arsenal and attack. I like that line. We will go to 1 here. Yellow pommel. We go to 2. Let's go. That's value. That's value. Okay. So the burn up won't actually apply to the Garden Flash because we have to do it in resolution before it resolves. But what we can do is literally strip his entire hand. So what we'll do is we'll play the Gone in a Flash. Just an innocent little card, nothing crazy. I think no matter how you cut it, it's fine. Then we let that go. And then the resolution step, we Tunic Counter, Reaper, the burn up shock, which we'll play both sides. Choose if you want to return. I do. It goes back to our hand. We ping him for 1 arcane, and now the burn up is applied. He's at 1 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But we just use that card for the action point. That's all we did. But more importantly, we keep the creepers for the next turn. If he does try any like shenanigans, yep. And then From there, we basically just get to pitch the Gone Flash to Starfall, which is 2, which is another break point. So he basically blocks the Zealous Belting for 2. And then we Electrostatic Discharge into Exude. He has 6 block. It's lethal. Exactly. And then that's even with a Snatch in Arsenal. So no matter how you cut that. And then the next hand is kind of doo-doo, but it do be like that. So we had like a really rough start. He had a really good start with the Showtime. It's like one of the best things that Bravo can do. We ate a Crippling Crush, we ate a Pulverize, we bricked the first 2 turns, and we still got there. we still got there. Yep. But G. Okay, so one thing that I want to explain real quick before we hop into another game is I want to go over the card counting strategy that I utilize in Room Blades and then play one more game, kind of going through that conversation or that exercise. Needed to go again from Creepers is exactly why I activated the Creepers. And because you can resolve the shock part and bounce Gone and Flash. Like that works, but then I don't have an action point. I needed to resolve the go again on the burn up side to get my action point. Is the idea. Couldn't you have just Creepers it normally and used Electrostatic to bounce? Couldn't you have just Creepers it normally and used Electrostatic to bounce? I mean, yeah, it's the same. I mean, it's the same play, right? Creepers before damage lets you trigger burn up on hit. You can decline the bounce. That is true. I could have won that way as well. Although that line is a little risky. I guess it's not that risky, right? Because you get a whole nother card if they do have the D react. So it's really not that risky. I think Bailey has a good point there. That's probably actually the best line is to play in the reactions and force them to have it, because the difference of the bounce is only me getting an arsenal. It's not that big of a deal. I'm trying to just win the game. I just got trapped in my mind of trying to do the absolute most mathematically, valuable play. But I think I agree with Billy there that playing it in reactions is probably, and just forgoing the bounce is probably the correct line. Yeah, it's definitely the right line, because then you can bounce it anyway with Electrostatic Discharge. No, because it says the next time, so you have to decline the bounce then, and you don't get it again on the Electrostatic Discharge. I agree with Billy. I agree. So let's talk about the card counting strategy that I use with Rune Blades, and it's basically to avoid what we saw at the very beginning of the game. It does not affect anything the first 2 turns because there's nothing to count. So what we do is we look at our starting ratio. Okay. So what are we worried about in Rune Blade as far as like, what do we not want to do? We do not want to draw all non-attacks. That's like, if it's all attacks, like we can at least do something with it, and it probably blocks pretty decent, but we don't want to draw all non-attacks. Okay. So just using this main board 60 here, this situation, by the way, if you go to the stats page on February, basically the stats that you are shown is based off of your main board, unless you click the include sideboard button or go to a specific matchup. And so currently we have 32 attack actions, and then we have 28 things that are not attack actions. That's all we care about. There's no difference between an instant, a non-attack. We don't care. All that we care about is drawing a line between things that are attacks and things that are not. So the current split of the The current split of the deck is 32-28. 32 attack actions and then 28 non-attack actions. So the idea is, if you've ever watched like one of the blackjack card counting videos, but basically you keep a revolving number in your head, okay? And you want to start at your starting ratio. So I like to assume that the more attack actions I see, the more worried I get. So I assign attack action cards a negative value. And then anything that is a or anything that is not an attack action, I assign it a positive value. So my starting count in my deck would be +4. Now, how did I get that number? Well, it's basically 20. It's 32 minus 28, right? So I start at 32, and then every time I draw, right? So we'll just use this as an example. We'll use the draw 4 button. So we're starting at a +4. If we look at this hand, we have 3 attack actions and 1 thing that's not an attack action. So that has we have a +1 here, -1, -1, -1. The hand total would come out to a -2. Okay, right? Because -1, +1, +1, +1, total equals, or sorry, -1, -1, -1, +1 for a -2. Okay. So then we take our previous number and then add the number. Simple as that. So +4 plus -2, boom, we're at +2. So then we draw another hand. We have 3 attacks. It's the same as last time, right? So we're at +2 and -2. Boom, we're at 0. So now we know that of these 52 cards that we have not seen in our deck, we know for a fact that there's a perfect even ratio between attack action cards and non-attack action cards. And so then we'll keep it going. So our rolling count is now 0. So we'll draw our next 4. Boom. Same thing. We have 3 attack action cards and 1 non-attack. So now we're going from 0 to -2. So now my light bulb kind of comes on a little bit. And we're like, oh shit. Maybe we need to play this hand in a way, right? Because this hand kind of plays itself out very easily. You can just sizzle, entwine, fuse, and then play the flittering charge, right? So you could just dump this hand. But because I'm at a -2 count, maybe I want to hold one of these attacks back and put it in arsenal, because now I have 2 more non-attacks in my deck than I do attacks. So we draw the next hand, and it's a perfect split, right? So the number doesn't change. That's the great thing about these hands, is that there's no calculation to be made. It's +1, +1, -1, -1. It's a wash. So the count is still at -2. And then we go to the next hand, and we have 3 non-attacks and 1 attack. So we barely made it. You see what I'm saying? As that ratio tips over into having less attack actions in the deck, this situation begins to arise, where it is less. Well, we have 2 attacks and 2 non-attacks. So then we'll draw again, 2 attacks, 2 non-attacks, draw again, 2 attacks, 2 non-attacks. I mean, this, boom, here we go, right? Because our count was at -2. Here's 4 non-attack action cards. And because we knew this was statistically more likely to happen, we've been playing in a manner where we're highly prioritizing either putting a non-attack or putting an attack action in the arsenal to allow this to be a functioning hand. It's not that functioning, FYI, but it gives us something to do. Yes, you're right, Kevin. That wasn't even split. You are correct. Are you not accounting for cards that may have been pitched? Great question, Jeffrey. And the answer to that question is, unless you shuffle your deck, right? When you get to second cycle, it doesn't really matter. Your deck's going to be so dwindled, you should have a good idea of what's in the deck, and what. So you're never going to see that card again. So if it's been pitched, you don't take it away, you don't do anything. You just leave the count as it is, right? However, if you do have a card in your deck that shuffles, I don't know if you're like playing Sonata or anything like that just shuffles your deck for whatever reason, then you recount by just going in your graveyard and reestablishing your count. Do you bother counting lightning cards versus non-lightning? So that one's a lot. So it to answer your question, it's the answer is technically yes and no, and it's whatever the deck, whatever bricks harder. Like, is bricking without an attack worse than not having a lightning card? I would argue it. So I'm going to use my brain power to track that one. But if you do have, a deck that, maybe you need to track your ward in Enigma or something like that, then there is some viability in that as well. So it's really just what do you actively want to be counting. But that is my strategy. And so I'll try to play another game and try and give you an active count that we're going with, um, to kind of demonstrate that exercise. It's a lot. When you start doing it, it's very mentally taxing, but as you continue to do it, I mean, hell, I'm about to try to do that, talk with chat, stream, all of that all at one time. It gets to be a lot. It really does, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Let's try this one. Dang, they got in there quick. Boom. Enigma. Okay, good exercise here. So we will choose to go first in this situation. We want Mark of Lightning. I'll tell you why later. Then we actually do want the on hits, believe it or not, and we just want to. So the count in the deck is not changing, right? Because we had a 32-28 split and we just added 3 non-attacks and 3 attacks. So nothing's changed. We are still entering in the match at a positive 4 because we have 4 more attack actions than the things that are not. So let's go ahead and submit. All of that looks right. Okay, so we're gonna get a count on the hand immediately. It's a wash, right? So no big deal. We're just gonna pass turn here and say, do what you gonna do. As far as what we want to arsenal, I think Entwine is just the most likely to be played, and it's the most valuable, which means I'm actively going to do that. Yes, this is more of a decision point for whether you send less attack or rather arsenal, or maybe you need to lessen the priority on making an embodiment because you have less attacks in your deck, right? Like, what's the chances of you actively needing it? Is kind of the thought process. Okay, so we've only added 1 card in our hand, which is a +1. So now we're at a +5, right? Because we were at +4, we had a 0, we combine them, still +4, and then boom, we just drew 1 card. We don't recount these. And we just go from there. Okay, if they have pummel, we just cry. Simple as that. So with this hand, what are we actively trying to accomplish is the question. We could give the purgatory here along with burn up. It is threatening the blink, which is not ideal, but it do be like that. There's no need to pressure the board. I do want to get this arc lightning into arsenal to kind of leave it there as like a way to kind of push the board if they do end up developing something. Phase Purgatory is not what you think it is in this matchup. I mean, we can activate it here, but I don't know ultimately what value we're actually going to get from it. But at the same time, we might not have a better opportunity. So I think we're just going to do that, as crazy as it sounds. Get the Phase Purgatory trigger, get them to discard it. More importantly, I just want to draw here. And this is a good reason why we want to draw here. This is a good reason. And we got them to just discard a go again card. Sure. Okay. And we're gonna turn this off until we need it. And the point of Mark of Lightning is for the Mirror God play. We just want to not let them just freely do that. Okay. So we're not gonna have enough go again to actually make the Flicker Wisp combo kind of worth it. So I think the idea here is we're just going to essentially pitch stack it. Is what we're going to try and accomplish. So let's go ahead and use this. We are going to get the Blinking Arsenal, but that's okay. We get to play NTG kind of. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing Starfall and then make an embodiment and then Arsenal to blink is the idea. And then that way these are pitch stacked together. Boom, we're good to go, right? Like mission accomplished. But also we could swing Starfall. We haven't played a lightning card, so we are not able to actually activate Aurora's hero ability. But if they're actively trying to take damage and we think that they're going to establish, okay, they're not. Okay, so we just stick to our normal plan. But how do we pick? I think, you know what? Because this is such a tempo negative play, I'm actually. Hmm. I'm gonna hang on to him actually, because I think that there's no lightning card. And not only that, but this isn't a very like tempo positive play. So I kind of like the idea of just hanging on to these to clear the board. And we're at a +5 count. So the chances of us drawing 2 or 3 attacks is very likely, right? Because we're at a +5 count. So I'm gonna Arsenal this one because it's a little bit more important. Boom, we drew 2 attacks. Good. So the draws were -1, +1, which is a net -1, which means we're back down to +4. Okay, and I always forget what the optimum order is. I gotta do math every time I play these cards together. So it's go again, resolve. It's always flicker into arc lightning. That seems wrong. No, it's arc lightning into flicker always because you get 5 versus 4, right? But you lose the go again. Is the caveat to that, which is fine. But is it fun? Because we have this actively, we want to push this, but we can't without the go again. Which means we actually gain value if we do it the other way, because if we do it the other way, we don't get the fuse, which means we don't deal the arcane, which means we don't. Um, so actually doing it in the reverse order is actually better in this scenario. +6, we draw that from Facebook. Yeah, we do need the go again. I Normally, it's a little optimal to do it the other way around, but beggars cannot be choosers in this situation, and we just have a really good hand. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go flicker wisp. Use. It's gonna deal an arcane. Sure. Does that mean you're gonna let this go? Because this does come in for 2, right? Okay. Which means you have to pitch if you don't want to lose your waxing for the arc lightning. Okay, and now we get to so we got the waxing specter literally really cheap. We sent 2 damage and got ward 3, so we got an extra value on that one. Then we just get diffuse here. It gains go again from the arc lightning, which is convenient, and it sends has go again, so it sends 2, and then also another 2 on the following. So this is a 0 for 8 right here. Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty good. Arc flicker, shockwave fuse. The shockwave fuse would not have go again. That's the piece that you're missing right there, Bricks. The example you gave, shockwave would not have go again because the arc go again would be used up on the flicker wisp, which already has go again. Another 2 damage. And then here, what I like to do is kind of bait out a CNC. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the tunic counter here and get a starfall in, which comes in for 4. We could actually. It saves tunic counter and deals 2 damage. Is that worth it? I don't think so. I want to bait the CNC. I know he's got it. And this also threatens press here because it deals arcane damage here. So if this does hit, it will actually deal 2 from the flicker wisp. So the flicker wisp will trigger and it does 2. So already down to 22, and we didn't even come off of an arsenal through a weakest link block. Pretty good, pretty good. Or no, that was just the waxing spectre. That was a different turn. So we're just gonna pass here in arsenal the sigil of lightning. That's a pretty solid turn. Nothing crazy. So we have another weakest link. I already know what I want to do here. So we're actually going to go ahead and give up creepers, as crazy as it sounds. We're going to do this. We're going to somersault the snatch back to our hand. And then I have a little bamboozle trick on the next turn. Hey, long time lurker. And after stream watcher, thoroughly enjoy. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Are you or any of the card guys plan on coming to Portland? When is that event? What is that event? Is the two questions I have for you to answer that. When and what? Is it a battle harden or is it a calling? If it's a calling, we'll probably be there. Giving back the weakest link? I'd rather not. I'd rather not. So this is a neat little trick. He's probably gonna play. Yeah, Wax here. You got it. Enjoy. So the nice thing about this play specifically, right, is I get to play the snatch, and it looks super innocent, or it kind of looks like a lightning press. But the thing about this play specifically is he can't rely on. We're gonna turn on Mark of Lightning because he can't rely on this to. He can't like block 4 and feel safe unless it's from Arsenal. It's the only way. Because we can trigger Mark of Lightning, then play the Sigil of Lightning from Arsenal to draw a card and then Arsenal it, is what we have the ability to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press because there's no reason not to. And he's very incentivized to let me actually draw this card because I have an Arsenal. But then when I draw it, I'm going to play the Sigil from Arsenal and actually get the value. Is kind of the line here. And see, so we can't play Mark of Lightning here, which is unfortunate. So it is going to cover up all of that because he's not blocking with a card from hand. But at the same time, it destroys all of his ward. Which no, he's short 1. He is short 1. So this is still drawing a card. This is ward 3, and you don't make the shield until it blows up. Yeah, when this leaves the arena. So we're still leaking and drawing, which is ideal because then we can send the Sigil and then Arsenal, whatever. Portland is the weekend before Thanksgiving. It's a calling. If it's a calling, I will probably be there. So he gets a Spectral Shield. Congratulations. I get a card, which is even better. Are you going to give me the Arcane Barrier? You're going to play 2 of them? What? What has happened? Okay, so all Arcane clears the board. That we take that. We take that. So in this situation, because he has covered all of this up through one way or another, I'm just going to pass with the Sigil on Arsenal. And if he plays a CNC, we're going to make him cry. Waxing into a pretty good turn. It'd be 4 and then 4 and then 1. Too bad we're up like a bajillion life, but that's cool. So we have the lightning card to turn on everything here. And we actually get double go again from it. We have the fuse fodder. We have the blue for making the embodiment, and we have the ability to close on an E-strike, which is pretty good. Pretty good, I would say. So I'm going to just take all of this. Nathan, be real. Is CYP deserving of a ban? I do not think it is. You just realize you hit still. It'd be like that sometimes, It do be like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the. So here's what we're actually gonna do. Nah, I was gonna play the Sigil in current funnel, but that doesn't work. It has to be the last non. So this turn kind of plays itself. right? Yeah. So we're gonna go forego again. Then we're gonna make an embodiment because we get, you know, another one anyway. Off of the sigil the following turn, which means did we even need to play that? I guess we do for the Starfall. Yeah, we do for the Starfall. That's why we did it. Oh my god. I haven't been counting, guys. Oh no, what's the count at? See, I got distracted by talking with chat. Oh no. And I can't rebuild it. Sorry, chat. I goofed. Has anybody else been counting? What's the count at? I don't know. I have no clue. I've literally just been chatting. It's too much to count, interact with chat, play the game to like a mediocre capacity. Vinny is in a good spot. Vinny is in a good spot. So we have a double transcend, which means not a lot of block cards. Getting Flicker Wisp out of there. That's fine. I don't care. I wasn't planning on playing it again. So that does mean Mirror Guy is a threat, which means every turn it is crucial that I clear the board. Number one priority is just clearing the board. Because what we're trying to produce is a situation where he blocks down to just Mirror Guy and Tunic counter, and then blocks with the Traverse, and then plays the Mirror Guy and attacks. And then so that's like the only thing on his board. And then what that allows me to do is start with attacking him and then just say, okay, Mark of Lightning, your Mirror Guy. Boom, gone. Easy. So the question is, because we have Flicker Wisp, do we actually just E-Strike for 7 here and hold back the Flicker? Because the Arcane Barrier is gone? Is that the play? Seems like there's no reason to be pushing damage right now. What's better, Current Funnel or Flicker Wisp in this situation in Arsenal? I think because the Arcane Barrier is gone, we're just going to do this and not swing Starfall. And then Arsenal the Flicker Wisp and go for a clear on the following turn because he's building something. Boy, he's building something. Okay, I thought we were going to be like really gaming by drawing a... I mean, this hand kind of good though. This hand kind of good. We have to go again. So we get to play Flicker Wisp, fuse it, Shockwave, fuse it, Flittering, play this, stack Shockwave. That's kind of good, chat. That's kind of good hand. And we have Tunic counter to fit a Starfall in there. Oh my god. How was the hunt from Marvel Briar and Marvel Thorn? It has been fantastic because in the past 3 days, the price is cut in half. So I'm going to keep letting it fall. There were people around the world premiere saying that it was like a 1 of 100, and that is not true. I've literally seen 100 of them on Twitter already, and like none of it is. It's -10. Trust me. Yeah, -10, bro. We would be panicking right now. We would be panicking. Do you think Viscera has a real shot at being a contender for top deck? Is it just going to take the right meta? I think Viscera players need to build the deck differently than it has historically been built. And I think if you could do that, I'm still working on it, still work in progress. But I think that the deck has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. But if you're just going Mauve, attack, weapon swing, I don't think it's enough in this meta. I think you need to be doing something else. Is Mark of Lightning good for the same reason as the Celio? You're just trying to trade up on ward is all you're actively trying to do. Please, for the love of God, don't play your last weakest link. Please. I don't care. Sure. Just please don't do it to me. Because this is my only fuse card. It's so important. And this hand is so good. It is so good. God! Oh! He got me. Weakest link, really? Ah. Chad, it was the perfect hand. It was actually perfect. Really? Ah. Son of a bitch. Really? At least I have 2-3 blocks, so we can just do this. Jeez, so depressing. I had the hand chat, and then he had his third weakest link. Really? Really? The good part about this embodiment is it's technically not entirely wasted. There's a good line here where it's very deceptive if he's not paying attention to the tuning counter. And we get to throw this 7, which is very likely to not have go again. But then if he stays with like 1 card in hand and has some ward on board or something along those lines, we have the ability to just tune it counter Starfall to really just force the cards out of hand or force the clear. We're fine with either one. But we are kind of shields down. Okay, so here we're gonna have the mirror guy play, probably blocking with 2 cards, which means we are going to tune it counter into Starfall. But getting the mirror guy is actually going to be really easy anyway because he doesn't have Arcane Barrier and we have Flicker Wisp. So we can literally, if they don't protect all this ward, I mean, we're not, we can save Mark of Lightning for the second one. Oh shit, Flittering Charge is... Nah, but it's, I don't think that works that good anyway because... Like it's an okay, but I don't want them to draw. It's not worth it. Yes, I could have made that play. I could have, but I don't think it's worth it. Are you going to give us the ward? If you give us the ward, I'm not going to attack you with the sword. If you don't give us the ward, I'm attacking you with the sword. Choice is yours. Five card hand? What? Unraveled. Okay. So there is no mirror guy. Maybe. This does force pressure on the boots, which is nice. I'm going to do it. I'm going to send it. And if he blocks with a card out of hand, depending on... I don't think I ever Mark of Lightning with just this on board. But if he doesn't block this, we get to eat the boots. And that's pretty good trade. Tunic counter for some boots. You could play the instant before weakest resolves. That is true. It just feels... I don't know. I feel like the better play is just to block it and keep the life totals high. Because then we're at 17 in that situation. And I burn the card and I send 4 more damage, 5 more damage. It doesn't seem that good. Okay, so we got the block. There's no reason to Mark of Lightning, though. It's kind of scuffed. So what you got with the 3-card hand? So you do have Mirror Guy. With a board. That's a little problematic. I'm not going to lie. This is 3 Arcane. What? I tell you. 3 Arcane eats all this. No, just this and this. But it'd be 2 Arcane and 3 Arcane with no AB. Probably making a bunch of shields after that, which is fine. No big deal. This is dealing damage, not arcane, so it's not amped. That's fine. Not a big deal. Astral etching, that's fine. That shit's gonna be gone next turn, guarantee it. So he does get to make 2 more. He'll make 1 this turn, maybe, and then 1 next turn. So that means 4 spectral shields plus ward 2. So if we present 5 arcane, we get to the coalescence with a bajillion counters. That's fine. Yep. Do that at the end. So 4 spectrals. So we need to deal 5 arcane. Okay, we can deal exactly 5 arcane to clear the board. So we just go flicker into this for 2 arcane. Man, if we had grasp here, that'd be kind of cool. And then we're just going to play this one out now, so we just guarantee the we're just trying to get the coalescence. You can keep the 1 spectral shield, that's fine. Believe it or not, we still have not played a lightning card. So we have to unload to actively, which is fine. We haven't seen a CNC yet anyway. Just all 3 weakest links. Boom, boom, boom. That last one. Man, we would have won the game already if he didn't throw that one. Just a good old 7. And then we get to bank the... Sure. Okay, we'll be on 2. We need to just force this into Arsenal. We get to E-Strike, draw a card. Pretty cool. No Arsenal. Zero for four. One time. One time. No, not where we want to be. It's okay. Doing that line only costs us 1 damage because we get to rabble into the. We actually removed the blue off of the top, so we gained a value. Chat. Games are 1 up here. If we would have done 7 into 4 and be conservative, we would have hit the blue on the rabble because that's what we drew. So it would have been a 9 value play, whereas this is 9 already. We get to throw 1 after. Talk about value, chat. Just value. Big 1. Big 1. And then we have Tunic Counter, Electrify lined up with board clear. Exactly where we want to be. Okay. So we just go ahead and take the Tunic Counter and play Electrify to see where we're at. And we make our decision afterwards. Okay. So this is pretty good, chat. This is okay hand, yeah. We're definitely gonna go ahead and just push this, right? Like it's just too much go again. We get to make that. We can still go there. So yeah. Or go again. Nothing else. Just forego again. Okay, so we can go. This only applies to attack action cards. So we can go 5 into 4. And if they don't have we could catch them without. The problem with overextending like that is we could brick on the next hand, and I haven't been counting because I've been paying attention to chat too much. And so we have a couple lines here. We can either Starfall, make an embodiment, and then snatch go. That's not enough to force through the Electrify. So because the Electrify is on the stack, I think I'm going to be a little bit inefficient and just say E-Strike, go again, which will actually ping. So it's like, it has value. And we're just going to hope that they have a Transcend card because we've only seen 3. 2. We've only seen 2. So this is an awkward number. We're going to present another. And if we can get Tunic with counter on 3, then like, hey, well, we take that, right? Because then that removes the whole mirror guy swing play, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, we take this deal. The problem is he's basically put us in that spot where he's like, hey, better not brick. And that's exactly what we are going to try not to do. Okay. Okay. I should have played that in reactions. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I thought about it as soon as I did it, and there's no point in undoing after that, right? Like, there's no point. But yes, you're 100% right. I should have swung. So, although it is kind of, I don't know. I don't think you get anybody really good by doing that. Also, this is a great opportunity to Mark of Lightning for the damage if they block from hand to just get the card draw. It is a little sus, I'm not gonna lie, because there's a lot of cards that just are not gonna do anything, right? We do have some Rabbles, we have all our Entwined Lightnings are gone, which is kind of sus. There's not a lot of other stuff that we can just on the fly like guarantee play that'll be like a smooth kind of situation. And we've already secured keeping this around, so we're just gonna keep it at that. Path well traveled. Okay. Sure. Pathway. You're probably just gonna get the pathway to block it. If I had to guess. Three plus one, so you go 2 2 2. But can you close with anything with the one resource? You probably can. But you're gonna have to cover the exude up without a D react, which could be a little bit tricky. And I still have a card in hand, so we are gonna go ahead and turn on our Mark of Lightning because I think we save ourselves a lot of damage by taking out one of these spectral shields. It's not obviously he hasn't played a mirror guy, so that's what we're basically actively trying to do uh, by making this play. So we're currently getting one. We could get a second one though because Mark of Lightning is going to. Um, oh, it's not an elemental attack. I'm an idiot. Lightning or elemental. But we still ate up one of the shields, and there's a. So as long as there's no 2 for 6, I think we're in decent shape. We just don't want to see a 2 for 6. But we have the Wombo combo just in case he does have it. We still live from Astral Etchings. Although the next one gets super close. We go to 1 if they do have the Astral Etching. But they have to pitch and give us a little bit of information here. What you got? Yeah, can't trigger on. It has to be elemental or lightning. Okay, if they have the 2 for 6, we give Tunic the 2 attacks, somersault back, and then we just go with in a. Huh. Okay. We're gonna turn that on. Because with the press, I mean, it's for sure gonna be. The question is, if we could draw something that can gain go again, and we can somersault it back to have an even bigger turn, then it's pretty okay spot. Still leaks unless there's a second. There's our card draw, which will resolve first to determine whether we. Oh my god, too much of a good thing. Oh, it's frustrating. Hmm. Is coming off an arsenal worth 2 more damage? Is the question. Keep the CLV around. because we still have Mark of Lightning, which gives us another card, which may or may not matter. Versus like the guaranteed go again in Arsenal, which is really good. No CNC's been resolved. We haven't seen one though. This is tough, chat. I don't. Let me say sorry. Thank you. So the two lines that are sticking out to me is Swing Sword, Fuse, Shockwave, Arsenal, Surge, right? Or we could double pitch the Lightning Surge to keep the Lightning Valley around, and then just Shockwave, or Shockwave after, and then that'll deal 5 versus. I think that's the play. I think we go. Go ahead and turn that off because I don't think there's a reason to go and do it, and then we will just. It's tough. It's not a good spot to be in right now. Three card hand. Basically, if they have Mirror Guy, I think they just win. So we have all the go again in the world. Yeah. Okay. So that'll be 8. I think we almost just die. Oh, there's no chi. Oh man. Oh, we got. Ooh. Okay. Okay. So we use the mark to clear that, which forces them to have a D react, or we double draw and then we have a bunch of go again. So I think because we're drawing 2 cards, very likely that we just block with Tunic. I guess Tunic is always worth, but if we'd rip a blue from the 2 cards that we know we're gonna probably draw, then we're gonna do it anyway. So we'll go to 1. And we also need to guarantee the lightning to pitch for this channel lightning valley. Tight game, but he's going to try to use this to cover up the breakpoint, is what I assume is going to happen. We do waste the embodiment of lightning, but I mean, we got we got all to go against. We definitely turn this on. Not dealing any damage yet. He probably just blocks 1 card and then tries to let the mirror guy just cover it up. Okay, that means he has a D-react in hand, if I'm not mistaken. But currently we're drawing. But I think that means he has a D-react. But if he has a D-react, then we can just clear it anyway. We have that ability. There's the D-react. So then Mark of Lightning goes on the stack. Right there. Once Mark of Lightning is on the stack, we play the other CLV. Wait, we don't because the mirror guy is going to absorb it. Oh well, we're playing it anyway because there's no way he stops Rabble. Yeah, we'll go ahead and clear the mirror guy. So we won't draw here. But now we have double rabble into Starfall. So we have literally, they have to have D-React, D-React, D-React. There's the 4. Okay. There's the double draw. 1. GG. Sizzle will break the chain. And this is for collective. Even if this wasn't an attack, all of this applies to the sword swing, and it gets there. So it wasn't reliant on drawing the attack, because Sizzle both pumps attack, and this also says attack. So both would have triggered on the sword. This could just been literally any card. But this will trigger for 11 more damage, which is an overkill by 6 or 7. So close, a lot closer than. It's not cheat, bro. Yeah, I panicked a little too soon. A little too soon. We panicked, but imagine the blue reveal. I would have panicked. What is supposed to be counted? So what was supposed to be counted? I went over it earlier in the right before this game. If you want to go back and watch it, I don't want to waste everybody's time and go. We're not gonna play that one again. That's a little trolling. We've been going for a little over 2 hours, so I just wanted to chat with chat for a little bit and answer any questions that anybody has. But basically, it's a card counting strategy where you keep a rolling count or number for all of your attacks and non-attacks. Like I said, I went over it in this video right before that game. I went over the whole strategy. So, would Prism be able to race Aurora, or is it just time to switch to Enigma? I mean, I don't think Prism wants to be a race or wants to be racing, or because like Mark of Lightning is even better, right? If they ever have an angel, then you just get to clear the angel for free, which is absolutely disgusting. Although the armor is really good into Prism, so I'm not sure that I would actually run Mark of Lightning into Prism because the armor is very, very important. But Face Purgatory is really good into Prism. Stops the double herald and among other things, right? How do you like current funnel? I think it's the best blue by far. I think it's the best blue by far. But today we went 4-0 on Aurora. That's gotta be worth something. 4-0. Do you think snaps are bad? No, I do not think snaps are bad. Once again, I am going to post or Kyle is going to post the A to Z Aurora episode tomorrow. And I basically, in that video, I go over all of the cards that a lot of people are on that I'm not on. And I basically give my entire thought process on why it's not in there. And like, Aether Ironweave, I think is perfectly valid if you have more than, 1 or 2 non-attack actions. But like, Snaps is perfectly fine. I think Snaps is a perfectly valid. If you don't run Electrify, I think Snaps is probably the way to go. If I'm being 100% honest, the only way that I'm on Creepers is I really like the extra block, and I'm on Electrify, which means there's Burn Up and Electrify that allow me to force through on hits, and I think that makes it worth it. When the A to Z Vis coming. That I'm not entirely sure. Josh made a huge schedule. I think Vis is kind of end, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, I don't think it's anytime soon. Uh, I'm going to try. I don't know if it's. I'm gonna try to bring John Ho out of retirement for the video. We'll see if he. We'll see if he's willing. I hope he would. And when will we be expecting a Vinny deck tech? The answer to that question is probably right before ProQuest season, like 2 weeks from now is when I would say that I could realistically get something together. Uh, Let me know when you need a B to Y Rhino. Shouldn't you be watching Survivor, Blake? What's happening? What's happening? I saw that and I just started dying laughing. Has that show not been on for like 20 years? I swear it's been forever. You said Survivor, bro? I was like, what? Oh, I figured the island they were on would have already been consumed by water due to climate change. It's literally been that long. 2000. Holy shit, it's been 24 years. That's insane. 2 seasons a year. I saw nobody has it in the list. Yeah, I think Snaps is perfectly fine. Or why is nobody considered Poison the Well? I think it's a valid card. I just don't think that Aurora is the deck that needs it. If you have to think, like somebody earlier in the stream asked if Count Your Blessings was an actual problem. And I don't think Count Your Blessings is a problem in Flesh and Blood because I think it's a real big problem if your deck is shit. And what do I mean when I say that? It's basically if they have time to play 2 cards, you just have to think about the matchup a little different. People are stuck in the idea that against fatigue, on hits are irrelevant, right? So they build their deck in a way to where they don't have any on hits. But the key to these Earth heroes in any deck that runs Counter Blessings or whatever is like Electrify and Burn Up. Those cards are still valid. They're extremely valid because all the Earth cards block 2. Most of them do anyway, and Counter Blessings, like they can't just like play them whenever they want to. They have to have openings. And so you get extra value through your on hits. You just have to change your mentality as far as how you approach. I understand why people feel like they're running against a brick wall, but like you have to change your perspective a little bit and understand that on hits become relevant if life gain is the avenue of fatigue. I don't think Count Your Blessings deserves a ban. I do think it's poorly designed. Biggest issue is I don't know your opponent is on it until the game's underway. That's true. And some decks are going to suffer. And to question its design, I understand the viewpoint. I really do. But I think the biggest thing is like life gain has always been. I remember 2 years ago, we did the Dynasty preview and we did a video with TheCardGuyz where it was like you could go back and verify this, but it was basically what was the best Guardian card in the set, what was the best Illusionist card in the set. We went through all the different categories and basically said, how we expect this to break the format, this not to break the format. And I said that the most powerful Guardian card in Dynasty was Blessing of Patience, or whatever the life gain one is, the 1 cost, gain 3 life action. And during my explanation, I said that life gain will eventually reach the point in the game where if you can't aggressively abuse the deck, it's going to be out of reach against certain decks, basically anything mid-range. And I do agree that it does create some not ideal play patterns. But the biggest qualm that I have is not actually count your blessings. The biggest issue that I have in the current format of Classic Constructed in Flesh and Blood is a Runeblade card. My biggest complaint is a Runeblade card, and that is Reaping Blade. I think Reaping Blade leads to games that mathematically should draw, right? Which is never ideal. Now, I'll put a caveat onto that to where if it wasn't for some of those fucking cards, then Reaping Blade wouldn't put that situation into play, right? So it's like, who are we blaming, right? Is the person solving the problem or the person that is the problem? And that's another conversation to be had. But some of the Earth mirrors, as an example, should theoretically always conclude into a draw if they both are playing in a somewhat slower fashion, because especially like the Verdance and Florian matchup. I mean, that is just, ugh, it gets gross quick. Because you should, it's 99% of the time correct as Florian, just pass your turn and just say, look, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to go beneath me to make it where you can then gain life. And I'm going to break your hand. The problem with that is, I think it's somewhere in the rules that if 3 turns pass and no game action's been made, it's a draw. So, like, if you play at maximum efficiency in that matchup, you should always conclude to a draw. And that's not good. That's not good. But once again, is it because of Reaping Blade giving them the tool to do that? Or is it because they literally have to run Reaping Blade if they want any chance to win? And it's interesting. Interesting. I understand why people hate Count Your Blessings. I understand it. But at the highest level, will it be in some very meta decks? I 100% believe it will be. It'll be a meta card that'll come in and out of the meta that'll gain a lot of equity from people not being able to appropriately guess when it comes in and out. But, it really just depends. It really just depends. But I had a blast playing Aurora, and I'm going to answer any questions that anybody has in the next couple minutes, and I'm going to close this out. Hopefully I talked fast enough for everybody. If you were here for the beginning, you understand that statement. People saying I talk too slow. Haters gonna hate. All right, chat. Y'all seem to be out of questions. Thoughts on Vincent? Thoughts on Vincent is that she's still really good. I don't think she's going anywhere. I think that I'm still working through the throttling problem where I'm actively trying to get more cards into the banish zone. I'm still trying to come up with that. What deck would counter Aurora? What deck would counter Aurora? Florian, typically. I know I gave a bad example of that by winning 2 games, but that's historically a very bad matchup. The problem is, the first Florian that I played against, they went too fast. They never got a hero ability, and they weren't actively delaying the game long enough. And then the second Florian that I played put too many cards in their deck, diluted their deck, and tried to play the game a little too long. So you really want to be in that sweet spot where you get windows for them being Rune Blades, you have a bunch of D reacts, you cover up all the shit, and you just play this mid-range game plan. And I think the Florian matchup gets pretty rough pretty quickly. If it's played, like against Yuki's List would be a great example of what I think would be a good deck to kind of beat Aurora. I don't think New is as good as you would think into it. Because you play very good linearly with your hand. So if you take one card out of Aurora player's hand, it's not the end of the world. It's not like Zen. Yeah. Disruption. Azalea. I think Azalea is fine. I think Azalea, and see, Azalea's another interesting one. Like, you might say, oh, Azalea should be a natural counter to Aurora, and that's always the case until they red the ledger you, and then you electrostatic discharge into a snatch, and then lightning press it and draw a card and deal 10 damage, and then they literally got no text on their arrow. So, and then you have Face Purgatory that always takes them off of an arsenal one time in the game, which is pretty good. And yeah, it's like the Azalea matchup is not as bad as you would think, especially if you're running my version that has a lot of the on hits that Azalea literally cannot block. So anytime you resolve Electrify, it's good. Anytime you resolve a burn up, it's good. And my deck has Warmongers. So I'm teched even further for that matchup specifically. So Azalea is actually not that bad for Aurora. Thoughts on Vis? I said it a little bit earlier. I think Vis is good, but you have to build him different than he current. If you're going Mauve into attack into sword swing, I don't care what attack it is. I don't care what sword it is. I think you're playing Vis wrong. Do you think the price for big Earth Lightning cards decomposed with CLV Gone in a Flash will go down or become the new codex? Seems extremely high demand still. I think it'll come down. I think it has to come down. A lot of people are excited to open the set. I think a lot of people are getting FOMO. There's a cycle that always happens when we have the release of a new set. Okay, and what happens every single time? I kid you not. If you get on Talishar right now, chances are that 50% of the games, if not 60, are going to be between the new heroes, right? Are the new heroes going to make up 60% of the meta? Very unlikely, right? Very unlikely. And so what happens is everybody gets these mixed results due to everybody just playing other people's new hero deck archetypes. And everybody thinks everything is really good because you're not playing against like a solidified list. But the second you take that list into something that is like historically been proven, it doesn't do so well. It really doesn't. And so I think a lot of people are going to be very quickly realize that, you got to be doing something a little bit more. You really do. Like Florians are going to be ecstatic until they play into Enigma and then they're going to cry. But it happens every time a new set comes out. Keep flip flopping between Aurora and Vin's set. Any input on pros and cons? I think they're both good. I think they actually attack on a very similar axis where they both have good mid-ranging capabilities with Somersault, and then Vinny has the ability to just play really low-cost hands that are very efficient but be aggressive at the exact same time. I think Aurora is a little bit more consistent, but Vinny has an overall higher ceiling, believe it or not. And yeah, so it's just which side of that aspect do you want to be on? You want to have a higher ceiling, lower floor? Vinny. If you want to be more consistent, aggressive, Aurora. Older Vislists just seem like worse aggro decks trying to reach. Exactly. That's why you shouldn't be playing Vis like that. What non-attack action counter are you currently running with creepers? I am running. Let me check. Non-attack action cards. I'm running 11. 11 non-attack actions. That is 3 Sizzle, 3 Burn Up, 3 Arc Lightning, and 2 Electrify, and then sometimes either 3 Warmongers or 3 Flicker Wisps come into the deck as well. So anywhere between 11 and 14 non-attack. Why Creepers over Lightning Greaves? Well, technically I have both on the list, and they go in and out. But Creepers is because I run Electrify. That's one more target that I can flip over the top and really force through that on hit. Then 3 gate turns are more consistent now. 100%. 100%. Thoughts on Shadow of Ursa in Vinny? It's one of the things that I'm actively testing to accelerate putting cards in the Banish Zone. I'm actively looking for ways to get cards into the Banish Zone. I would never run Succumb to Temptation in Aurora. The arcane damage is not consistent enough. It's not actively doing what you're trying to do. As of now, who do you who are you thinking about taking into ProQuest? I'm not sure. Probably Aurora or Vinny is what I'm leaning toward right now for ProQuest season. One of the two. One of the two. Not sure which one. I guess it'll be Aurora unless I finish Vinny. If I finish Vinny, I'll play Vinny. So, all right. Well, we had over 200 people during the stream for a simple gameplay stream. Like that's pretty good. And in the last stream for the tier list, we broke. Chat. I think we broke 400 people. We broke the record. 400 concurrent viewers. For Flesh and Blood is for a non-event stream is it's massive. I really do appreciate it. I thank everybody for being here. I really do. Does your list play Blood Tribute? It does not. It does not. Card just doesn't do enough. Doesn't do enough. But I just want to thank everybody for joining me. I really do appreciate it. We are going to keep this one a little bit on the shorter side, 2.5 hours, give or take. And then I'll be back next week. What we'll probably do is we'll either talk about some Vinny or maybe flip back to Florian. I have some unfinished business there because I found out that OTK kind of wasn't the way to go. So will you be Aurora in ProQuest and World? I'm unsure. I am unsure. Really just depends. All right. Thanks for the insight. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. I hope everybody has a good rest of your night and an even better weekend. And if you haven't opened your Rosetta product, I hope you pull something amazing. And I wish you the best in your preparation for ProQuest season. Go out there, support those stores, compete, get you some promos, get you an invite to wherever this Pro Tour is going to be. Who knows? And yeah, thank you for joining me. I really